Welcome back to College Football Addiction. Are you serious? Blake Ruffino. That is one of the best names for a show, just to let you know. And the Ruffino and Joe show. That one's, I mean, I like you guys, but that one's not as good as Are You Serious? I'm just going to say that. How you doing, man? 2-0.
I know, for the first time since 2019, 2-0. It feels good, but then there's still problems, so you got to talk about them and fix them. But it does feel good to be 2-0 in week 2 and the panic meter not being absolute chaos.
Yeah, I can feel the vibe there for sure. You'd rather have issues and be 2-0 than have issues like your opponent this week and be 1-1, right? After a loss. So,
yeah, very true. Been there.
Yeah.
Been there. You know what I'd say to that? What's interesting, TJ, is, I led off my show this week. I'm old enough to remember that LSU lost to Troy and then turned around the next week and beat Florida, the SEC East champ.
Yeah.
I'm old enough to remember when Notre Dame lost to Northern Illinois and turned around to beat a ranked Louisville. So I don't, for me in college football, you cover it as a whole, we cover it as a whole. I'm not, I don't like put so much stock into like, oh, they lost, so they're going to get blown out by LSU. I think, TJ, that now that this has happened, this makes Florida more dangerous than they've ever been,
100%.
which it scares me a little bit. I wish they would have blown out Coach Golish in South Florida. It didn't happen that way, but, I think it makes him a lot more dangerous. It makes Billy a lot more dangerous.
Yeah, no, I agree. Listen, the spread's like 9.5 right now. I mean, we'll predict it later. I think Florida covers. Now, there's a scenario where things snowball and LSU wins this game by 25. Like that scenario, because of what we've seen, because of what you literally just put on, not even film, on national television for us all to watch, there's a scenario where Florida just gets their absolute teeth kicked in and then they quit. I think what's more likely is they come out with their hair on fire playing desperate as hell. Knowing, I mean, I picked LSU in this game before the season started. Like this wasn't, I'm not picking against LSU many times at night in Baton Rouge, right? So I was already picking LSU, but man, you're right. The loss to South Florida, I mean, I still don't think they're good enough to win unless some things kind of break their way, but they're going to bring it. Lagway's a gamer, and I know he's not been great so far. He's the kind of guy that's going to get up for these games, and their defense is good. And we'll talk about all these things, but no, I'm in full agreement with you. The spread probably would have been like 6.5 points had Florida won, and now it's 9.5. And because of that, I think it's an overreaction. I think they cover. We'll see, right? We'll get to that in a minute, but let's talk about your first two games real quick because we had you on before Clemson. The defense, somebody asked me what I'm most surprised about in college football to start the year. And I tried to go away from the Florida State answer because certainly could have used that. But I say LSU's defense, we've talked about it for years. When is it going to click? And they've been really good this year, right? Are they perfect? No, nobody is. That's fine. But I do think the way that they played against Clemson to start, obviously playing, a lower opponent last week, sure, you should have good defense in that kind of game. But I do think that that's what I've been most impressed with. And there's been a lot of impressive things. You talk about USF, you talk about Florida State, you talk about things that are surprised me the other way, like Klubnik and whatever. I think LSU's defense has been really impressive. And I think they're going to make life hell for Florida this week coming in, who is very shaky offensively.
I think you could say the entire state of Florida has surprised the college football world. I mean, to be honest with you, like, for example, we were talking about Miami last night, TJ. Carson Beck had 2 drops. He went 22 of 24, right? And so like that, even that. I think defensively, the thing that we'll talk about a lot tonight and TJ this week in the Brian Kelly era is LSU has only allowed 8.5 points per game in the first 2 games. They used to give up 8.5 points in the second half per quarter, right? And I think that's more or less like what we're focusing on. Like, for example, they didn't do anything different from Clemson than what they did to Louisiana Tech. Now, I don't think Louisiana Tech's a great team offensively, but Clemson, are they? Did Clemson hit a stride in the second half versus Troy? I don't know any of that. So I think that this game, though, TJ, for going in against Florida, you've gone against some spread attacks. What do you do against a very physical opponent? Is Patrick Payton, who, I mean – as good as Hell Perkins has been, Pro Football Focus is number 1 player on the defense for LSU. Does he continue to do some of the things that he's been doing? Can Jack Pyburn, who this game's really big for him, being against Florida's old team? But I think, TJ, what's been very interesting is they just got the dudes, like the Jimmies and Joes. And I think that has been the biggest problem is I think they're really good in all three levels. They got speed all over the place. And by the way, they got depth. For an example, Patrick Payton hasn't played half the snaps yet. But boy, does he make an impact. Jack Pyburn hasn't played 2/3 of the snaps, but boy, does he have an impact. I think the quality of depth and then the competition that has gone on that side of the football has just made this defense so much better. But now, TJ, I'll just tell you this. I think there's some revenge in that building from LSU about what happened a year ago. And then now there's some, I don't want to say revenge, but there's some things from Florida that obviously losing from South to South Florida that they want to get corrected. I think that the back end with Mansour Delane is probably the biggest thing because LSU is not doing anything very unique. They're going man-to-man, and they're getting after you from the front seven. I mean, they're blitzing, and they're going man-to-man. Cover it. Beat them. Yeah. I mean, and it's not that difficult of what they're doing, and then they're going to go free high. And they're just basically saying, do something about it. Yeah. By the way, you have Harold Perkins covering a guy in the slot that ran a 4.4. So now you got some versatility, TJ, to that where people are like, oh, this guy can't cover. Does Bryant Wesco stink? I mean, because I don't think he stinks, but I do have Harold covering him. So I just think overall they've just been so impressive. And here's the truth: they put in backups and they gave up 7 against Louisiana Tech. So I don't know if they should have been able to give that up. They should be giving up 5 points a game, really.
Yeah. The thoughts on Lagway? Because he's not looked sharp, and obviously he didn't practice a ton. Certainly, when he sets his feet, I don't know if you watch much of Brooks Austin stuff, but he did a really good breakdown of like, dude, when he just sets his feet, he's great. The problem is he's kind of hot dogging it some and looks like a guy that's still in his true freshman year because he hasn't practiced for 2 seasons. You know, he's missing wide open guys because he's just kind of throwing off his back foot or trying to look like LeBron, right, fading away or whatever. But man, he's got all the talent in the world, but he might be a little dinged up, certainly not as sharp as he should be, but also a guy that can literally pick you apart if he's protected and sets his feet.
So I think that it's more than I saw some clips that Brooks posted. I agree clearly. I agree with what he's saying. I also don't fundamentally agree with the footwork and what he said was wrong with the footwork. I think he's opening. I don't think it's a lower half issue. I think it's an upper half issue. For an example, TJ, when you're throwing a baseball, as an example, you're here, okay? Why is a quarterback? Why is your motion so long?
Yeah,
he's throwing it like he's
winding up for the Cubs. Yeah,
he's like Henry Roland Gardner from Rookie of the Year. He kind of looks like he's playing for Kevin O'Sullivan. I think he's not compact enough. I don't think footwork is great. I'm not disagreeing with Brooks. His delivery is so long, and when you have that long of timing, and Billy's offense is all about timing. Jet sweep, play action, go. And if you have timing issues, it's going to be a problem. Yeah. I think more than anything, what I've seen too has been a timing issue. Now, TJ, he hasn't had 8 starts, right? This will be his 8th start. So I guess my question is how much grace do you give a first-time starter? And I do, but I don't think that there have been beneficial things for him. As an example, they're trying to run jet sweeps with a screen and getting guys out, and it's too much. Billy has got to simplify some things for him. Hey, you have one of the fastest receivers in the country. Throw the ball to him deep. I mean, like this kid, number 8, his name skips me for I keep mispronouncing his name, but he's got speed. You got to get vertical. I think there's too much going on, right? And so I think that there's a timing issue. His footwork's got to get cleaned up. But TJ, name a quarterback whose footwork doesn't need to get cleaned up.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think it's a little too simple. But here's what I'd ultimately say. I don't think he knows what he's seeing. And I think that's the thing that early has hurt him. He's throwing it into triple coverage against LIU. Yeah. TJ, that happens this week. It's getting picked. Yeah. You know, by the way, it happened last week, and he almost got picked, and then he made a mistake again and then did get picked. So I think he's just still learning. He's ultra talented. I just don't want this game to be the one that he starts figuring stuff out, to be honest with you.
Yeah, wait till next week.
Right. Yeah. Wait till next week. Wait. Hey, have your coming out party versus Texas or somebody. Don't have it against us.
Don't be doing it in Baton Rouge.
Yeah, don't do it in Baton Rouge. Please let me have some sanity for once.
You mentioned Pat and you mentioned Jack, and I know those aren't the only two, but certainly some of the bigger names. The right side of Florida's offensive line has been not good to start this year. And man, that combined with him going away from Baugh, who I think, listen, I don't like UF, right? Like that's pretty well known. I think Baugh could be the best running back in the conference, in a very deep conference of running backs. I love the way he runs the ball so violently. His vision's so good. His feet are great. And, obviously a big guy. I love Jaden Baugh. And I'm just like, dude, why? First of all, why are you going away from him? He had 50 yards on the first drive. And then Billy tried to, I don't know, just got too much in his head or what. But that combined with the struggles that they've had on the right side of the line, I mean, that worries me if Pat has one of those games, which I've seen him had up close and personal, or if Jack has one of those games with the revenge factor on his mind. I think that's something that Florida has to figure out and has to figure out quickly, because whether it's Lagway under pressure or them not being able to run effectively because of that right side of the line, the left side's really good. Don't get me wrong; they're really talented. But man, if they can't figure out that side and running the ball, it could be a long night in Death Valley.
It could be. And listen, they've done a really elite job, meaning LSU, more Blake Baker, of utilizing Harold Perkins in different ways, which then has given Patrick Payton one-on-one opportunities. And TJ, I hate to say it like this, but look, there were a lot of times in the offseason where Patrick wasn't starting. And so he's like, all right, well, I guess I better hustle or they're not going to play me. Okay. So I think that the right side of the offensive line, for them, yes, has been an issue. And then to add on it, I think that's been the best side of what LSU's done defensively. I think Don McKinley is somebody that people aren't talking about because he doesn't have the statistics. He doesn't have like the quote unquote big plays. But what has happened here, ironically, is he's really being physical at the line of scrimmage. He's dominating interior offensive lines. He did it at Clemson. Can he do it here? Which is kind of given Patrick Payton and the other guys a lot of leeway to do some things. Jack Pyburn's physicality has been able to be the same. So I think that because of Don McKinley and Bernard Gooden from South Florida, ironically, the interior presence has made the edge room that much better because you have to focus on it so much. Here's another thing. Because LSU's going man-to-man, and they're going to go man-to-man this week, I'm letting it be known, they're sending heat, and you got to be one-on-one with guys like Payton, guys like Pyburn, guys like Rutherford, Bernard Gooden, etc., which I think LSU is going to exploit. Look, we're going to talk about that a lot tonight as well. I know that's been a big issue for them, but it's just so wild to me that they keep trying to like force passes on that side of the field. Like you're trying to get DJ to set up there and throw to the right side. It's been an issue. Why don't you have somebody to chip? But if Blake Baker sees a weakness, even last year, even at Missouri, TJ, they're going to try to exploit it and make sure that you fix it before they stop it. So I think it's going to be a big deal come Saturday of what LSU tries to do. Again, they're inside baseball. They're letting Patrick Payton go up against guards because of how protection's going up with Harold. Dog, it's just not fair. I mean, like you can have.
He's too athletic. He's too athletic.
He's too athletic for a guard. Okay, like let's just call it what it is. And so that's what's been setting up some things. And then you have Pyburn on a center who all he's doing is just trying to, so it's the personnel has set up exactly what they want to do. And I think that's what LSU ultimately is going to try to do and say, hey, DJ, make the throws that you need to make. And look, if and when he does, tip of the cap to him. But I don't think LSU is going to change a lot.
Yeah. I like Florida's defense. And I think that and I know week one, Long Island, I get it. Week two, they gave up 16 points, right? We won't count the safety against them. And even really outside of 30 yards of penalties and then a missed tackle in the backfield, mean, South Florida didn't even pass the 50 on that last drive. So really, for 58 minutes, they give up 10 points against a really scrappy team. I like their defense, and I think it could slow LSU. Now, I don't know if I like it as much as Clemson. So I think it's pretty comparable in some situations. I do like their defensive line a lot. I don't think the secondary is as good as Clemson. So that's maybe where I'd make the distinguishing factor. I think their linebackers are really good. So their front seven's really good.
Does Caleb Banks go? TJ, I've been very adamant on this. I think Caleb Banks is the best interior defensive lineman in the country. I don't think it's close.
Isn't he having? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is he not having surgery? Or is that somebody else?
Well, it's LJ McCray, the edge.
McCray had surgery. Yeah.
McCray had surgery.
A big one, though. You're right. I'll get right back to the video, but first, I want to tell you, I have gotten the alert from Apple on this Sleeper app, and I spent way too much time on it last week. The folks at Sleeper would probably disagree and say you didn't spend enough time, but Apple tells you how much time you spend on every app, and I might have to back it down just a little bit because I've been obsessed with consistently checking it for scores, taking the live more and less game that we play on the Power 2, which is live every Wednesday here on this channel at noon. You can do all that on the Sleeper app. You can read comments of fans that are flipping out when their team has a big play go against them or a big score or a big game result. Listen, if you're in the NFL, they've got eliminator leagues. They've got pick'em leagues. All of my friends have their fantasy football on the Sleeper app. And right now, we'll save you some money. We'll get you some extra money by using the code CFA. That's CFA, gets you a 100% deposit match up to $100. Play the more or less game, make money with us every week, and really enjoy your time. It is your one-stop shop for all things college football, not only, but pro sports, European soccer, whatever you're looking for, they've got it. Sleeper app, check them out. Check their terms and conditions. Obviously, they apply. Read their terms of use. Appreciate Sleeper for their support. Now back to the video.
But per Billy, I mean, listen, Banks might be back for this week. I mean, he destroyed LSU. I mean, let's just call it what it is. He destroyed Texas. He destroyed LSU. He destroyed Ole Miss. He destroyed Florida State, who was a game that they played before Texas that he destroyed Tennessee.
Yeah,
I know he's injured. I don't expect him to be 100%. But the thing with them defensively, that front seven is nasty.
Yeah, him at 80% still ridiculous.
It's still right. I mean, they are. Look, you got to give Billy this. If you don't give him anything, he has done a really good job recruiting some borderline 4-star, 3-star guys that have exploded. Yeah. I mean, they have developed and recruited at a really good level defensively. Now, offensively, I mean, it is what it is. Listen, man, they can beat anybody. And listen, LSU's had a struggle offensively. They can't run the football. What is Braylon Moore? His status is up in the air. The SEC and National Offensive Lineman of the Week in Week 1. TJ, Caleb Banks if he does play, he's going to present some problems. Even if he doesn't, offensively, LSU's really struggled. And I mean, maybe they were lethargic last week. I don't know, but Garrett did not look good. I saw the old Garrett. I saw last year's Garrett against Louisiana Tech. I saw an advanced one against Clemson. What's he going to be? And TJ, you better listen. There's no punches being held like there was last year on Garrett. I mean, look, man, this is what year 2 looks like here. And it doesn't look like in moments and times that, and I'm on audio podcast, I'm pointing to a portrait of Bayou Joe Burrow Jesus. Okay. But either way, it doesn't look at times that he's taking a step. If they get after Garrett, and I think Garrett saw ghost after Florida, to be honest with you, last year, can they get to him again? And if they do, TJ, we got a game on our hands. I think we got a game on our hands either way. I mean, so the defensive line for both sides scared the bejesus out of me and then make me feel good for ours. Which O-line can protect the most is probably going to win it, really.
Yeah, no, I agree. That defensive line is the difference in the game last year. There's
no doubt.
LSU won that game analytically, right? But with all the sacks, with all
possession,
with all the pressure and the sacks, and then it had, like you said, him seeing ghosts. Shit, they did the same thing to Jackson Dart the next week, where they terrorized him. I mean, then they did it a week later against Florida, and I know that Florida State was bad. They had 8 sacks in that game, man. Their defensive line was absurd.
They were 1 sack away, by the way, from breaking the month of November's SEC sack record.
That is stupid. That is stupid. So stupid.
Right. They needed 1 sack, and then they took one off the board. They gave Jackson Dart a rush instead of a sack. So I mean, look, you got to look. We poo-poo on Billy a lot. He deserves it. Defensively, they don't, TJ. I mean, here's the thing about Florida. They can beat anybody because of how good they are on defense. That's the scary part about them.
Yeah. No, and that will be Florida's best path to victory is just getting the pressure that they need to get. And that's it's not Lagway going for 350. It's not Baugh going for 150. Sure. I mean, Florida fans will take that without a doubt. But the defensive line gets the pressure. They're there.
Let's turn the ball over if they do.
Yeah. We did this a couple of weeks ago, so we'll just go quickly because I know you do the Ruffino and Joe show, which people should go check out. Dude, you guys are doing too much now. I can't even catch them all, but I used to catch them all. I'm trying to catch up with everything I'm doing, everything else. But
you keep paying us. We'll go every day. I'll stay live all day if you need me to from 8 to 5.
Marathon this thing. But we'll go around the country, some of the bigger matchups. Clemson, not been incredibly impressive. I'm not trying to take away from LSU. Don't get the LSU fans mad at me for saying that. But they weren't impressive against Troy either. Rain delay, all these things. I get it. But Clemson at Georgia Tech. Who's winning this one?
What's the health status of Haynes King?
I think
we know.
I mean, it never 100% because of the way they run him. But sitting out last week, I think, is a big deal. And so I think he'll be as close to as healthy as Haynes King can be playing at Georgia Tech.
If he goes, then they're in a dogfight, right? I'm not overreacting to any of these teams. Like, if I'm not going to overreact to Florida's loss, I'm not going to react to Clemson's win, right? Like, we're 2 weeks into this. The thing with Georgia Tech, though, man, if you just let them keep getting downhill, they're going to bust you up.
Yep.
And I saw Troy bust them up inside, and so I don't really have a winner, or I'm staying away from that game. I think Brent Key's culture is amazing. I've made this joke before. Fran Brown and Brent Key, if they were to recruit Ben Ruffino, you're taking the visit because I just love how they build things.
Yeah.
But what's the status of Antonio Williams? And I do think Clemson's eventually going to start figuring this thing out. They got to find a run game. They got to find a run. Adam Randall's not the answer. I love him to death. He's a freak of an athlete. He's just not the answer right now for them.
In the SEC, Georgia at Tennessee. Tennessee without their starting two corners screams nightmare to me, man. But, I don't think Georgia's been, what is Georgia outside of their two, kind of cupcakes that they've had. So I like Georgia here, but thoughts on this one?
I think that Tennessee, you start using transitive properties in some regards.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can fully trust Tennessee right now because I thought Syracuse was still a quality team, but they're going into a last-second situation against UConn that they got to pull it out of the hat. Fran Brown's making them run at the end of the game, which is embarrassing. Can that offensive line hold up? The biggest lie look, everybody said Georgia was sloppy, which then confirms to me that you didn't really watch the game. Because if you would have watched the game, TJ, they ran the ball 26 straight times.
Yeah.
Like they had 34 passing attempts. I get it. We read off the pass sheet. It was hitch, slant, screen. Hitch, slant, screen.
Just get us out of this game and get us
out of the game healthy. I mean, I don't know what to expect from any of them. I do think Georgia's replenished up front in their front seven. They are nasty. I need to see Tennessee actually do it. But what quarterback, in my opinion, can Gunnar Stockton go into Knoxville and not get rattled? Can Joey Aguilar not turn the ball over? I think it's crazy as it sounds and as simple as it sounds. Whichever one makes a mistake late is going to lose the game.
No, I agree. I think there's a lot. Man, we'll get so much answered here. Tennessee finds a way to win that game. You look at the rest of their schedule and you're thinking, dude, are they going to Atlanta? Like their schedule sets up well.
Right, it's same as last year. And then what happens if they get past Alabama?
Yeah.
Then what?
I mean, that doesn't look as daunting as it did.
Right. You got to start asking some really interesting questions. Can they run the football on Georgia is going to be a big question for me too.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think you can put it all on Aguilar's shoulders, right?
You can't.
You couldn't put it all on Tommy's shoulders. Like Florida State had to run the ball to let Tommy do his same exact thing to me. You can't put it all on his shoulders and say, go beat Georgia. That secondary is too damn good. And I think the trenches in every freaking game, right? Like, TJ said the trenches are important. Woo. In this one, man, it feels like Georgia's got the edge there. And they've got Kirby Smart. So doubt that guy.
And listen, like I heard, and I like Joel Klatt. I'm not trying to call him out when I say this. Not Carson Beck. Garner Stockton threw the ball 34 times. Again, you're just confirming to me that you didn't watch the game. You're wanting him to throw touchdowns on 6-yard hitch routes to Colby Young. Like, TJ, what are we doing? Like, the biggest thing is what's going to happen when Zachariah Branch does get vertical. Now what? Now what do you do? So how about this? They have only attempted 3 passes in 2 weeks and 60 passing attempts plus 20 yards. You hadn't seen anything, dog. Come on.
They're over here killing Bobo for not, killing Bobo for a couple of cupcakes. You'll see it this weekend.
You'll definitely see it.
You mentioned the transitive property. Are we allowed to use the transitive property when games happen in back-to-back weeks? Because if so, Vandy's going to go into Williams-Brice and win.
Isn't that interesting? Here's the thing.
Yeah.
Drones in the first half ran all over them. I'm talking about was Brent Pry. What are you doing? TJ, he's
looking for a job soon.
He's literally running all over them. They got flustered because they went down. Vandy gets the ball back and they score. Okay, and TJ, they're trying to open it up and nobody's open. They're trying to make him run the football. He ran all over them in the second half. Then he got sacked 5 times. I mean, listen, if I don't mean this in a wrong way, if drones can run all over you, what in the good wide world do you think Lenore Sellers is about to do? Yeah. They got away from the biggest thing that TJ, he had 90 net rushing yards in the first half. 90. And so now I'm trying to sit here and say, look, everybody wants Vandy and Diego to be some special story. I don't know, man. I think is Lenore Sellers going to start becoming into Heisman form? And if he is, it might be bad. It's going to be close, though, in my opinion. But if drones can run all over you, why can't Lenore Sellers?
Yeah. Texas A&M and Notre Dame. Feels like Notre Dame, I mean, shout out to Joe. If A&M doesn't win this game, I don't know if they have enough. If Notre Dame doesn't win the game, learn how to talk. I don't know if they have enough quality on that schedule left. Now, their logo will help them if the college football playoff comes around. Let's not pretend like that doesn't matter. But USC is going to be their best win if they lose this one. Man, I think this is a must-win for Marcus Freeman. Not for his job. 10-2 is still fine. But this feels like one you can't start 0-2. But can the Aggies go in and avoid the 8-4 jokes by losing this one?
Yeah, that would be a big question. Look, I think the biggest secret in all of the country right now is Mario Craver and Casey Concepcion. I mean, what's the health status of Marcel Reed? I think that's the biggest thing. TJ, all right. We make fun of A&M. You can make fun of them all you want to. Casey Concepcion, good Lord. I mean,
he's insane. He was insane in State.
I mean, and then here's the problem. Both Utah State and UTSA doubled him in the second half. And then Craver went off. And then you had Terry Bussey. And then they got their tight ends involved. And then they went a 4 and 5-man front, and then they ran the ball on you. The question becomes, here's my thought process. They stayed way too long in man-to-man coverage versus Miami. I'm not trying to say the Tony kid's not going to be special for Miami because he's a true freshman. It's game 1. Casey Concepcion's not the dude to do this to. He's just not that dude. Can they go in there and get a signature win? It's a big question. But here's the thing, too, with A&M that Notre Dame can capitalize on. If you're going to give up almost 200 yards to UTSA, to Henry on the ground, what can Jeremiah Love do? And that's the big question. And I asked this to Joe, but he's never going to say he's never going to say anything bad about Notre Dame. But, I mean, does having a bye week in week 2 bother you? Yeah. I mean, live reps are live reps, whether you like it or not. So I got to be honest with you. I'm leaning A&M a little bit, but it just the culture of A&M scares me to pick them. Like if you put any other logo on it, I'd say, oh, I'm going with them. I got to see A&M actually go in there and do it first.
The thing that worries me the most for A&M outside of Reed's health is the defensive line, and I wonder if they can. I wonder if they can do enough to, because I think they're going to get a heavy dose of Love and Price, and
Yeah, no doubt. Especially after people are saying that you didn't run the ball enough.
yeah, that defensive line for A&M is going to be key to me.
No doubt.
Outside of Reed's hurt too bad to be effective.
Completely agree.
Last one, and we'll do yours. Can USF do it 3 weeks in a row?
No, I don't. Look, I make this joke in all honesty. TJ, if they do it 3 weeks in a row, they need to be the number one team in the country.
100%.
I mean,
won't be because sports writers are idiots, but they should.
I mean, the people in the LSU beat, still had Bama had a Florida State. I mean,
Florida's still ranked and everything else.
Golly. I just don't think they could do it. I think that Miami up front is just going to be able to get to them late, lack of depth. I mean, TJ, this is 3 ranked opponents in 3 weeks. I mean, Florida was a physical game, and you got out of there. Now you got Miami. I don't think they could do it 3 straight weeks, but if they do, I mean, what are we talking about? I think it's closer than the 17.5 that FanDuel had it at, but I still think they're going to lose. I thought Carson Beck was the best quarterback in the country last week. I get it's Bethune-Cookman. He had 2 drops. He should have gone 24 for 24. That's hard to do against air. So I just think they get this thing rolling. And Mario Cristobal, I don't know if you heard his press conference, knew that Brown had the longest streak of non-interceptions in the country, like from a passing attempt standpoint. I don't think when you upset Florida, you can't – Miami's not overlooking you now. You can't surprise them. So, no, I would love for them to. It'd be chaos. I just don't think they'll do it.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I live in Tampa. My wife graduated from there. I'd love to see US. I mean, and I don't like Miami, but it would if they do it though, man. Oh, Gullish might get an SEC job midway through the year. Right?
Yeah, I mean,
I should be stealing him this week.
Joe asked if Billy just lost to his replacement at Florida.
He might have. It depends on who else wants him, I suppose, but he very well may have.
Lane wants that job.
Bad, man. Well, it's funny to watch their fans rehire him after, they beat him last year. They hired him in week 3. They beat him. Then they were off the train. Keep Billy. Now they're back on Lane. I've seen the memes and the edits with him already there. So
funny, man.
LSU, Florida. I mean, I feel like I know how you're leaning here. I don't know if you have a score this early in the week or not, but what happens?
I think it's close. I just think the defense is able to figure it out and save them again. I need to see Garrett in this offense put up more than 20 points, right? Like I need to see them consistently do something on offense. TJ, the run game really scares me. The health of Braylon Moore, the center, really scares me, and LSU not having him potentially. I don't think you have an identity. I've always said this. I'm not picking against LSU at home at night. I'm never going to do it. And if this were 11 games, listen, Brian Kelly's a lot of things. Losing at night and home is not one of them.
Yeah.
Now you got the Alabama game. That's his 1 loss. He's 20-2 at home. I think that here's the vibe that I picked up early in the week. TJ, they felt like they got embarrassed last year. Okay. I'm not saying the staff was looking ahead to Florida, but I think they were. Regardless of that, I think LSU gets it done. I would take the 9.5, by the way. I think it's close. I just think LSU defense is, you're going to have to show me that there's a team that they can get out physical, then they very well could. Lagway, can he be better in some situations? We'll need to see, but I'm going to take LSU. But I think it's a field goal to 5-point game, really. I think it's close. I think they're in a dogfight. I really do, because I don't trust this LSU offense to save my life.
Yeah. No, I think I do too. I like the 9.5. I like 24-17. I think LSU gets it done. Maybe something late. Maybe Florida scores to make it a little better close. But I don't know. Till I see it, I'm the same way, man. I was picking LSU in this game before the season, and I've not seen anything to move me off of that. So
how crazy would it be, by the way, 2 playoff teams, potentially 2 top 15 teams. Florida could be 2-2 before the month of September is over, and then Bama next week or 2 weeks versus Georgia.
It's a crazy It's been a crazy start to the year, and this weekend has all the vibes. Tennessee, Georgia has all the vibes of South Carolina could have man, they could. There's I'm excited to rot on my couch this weekend. So
Me too. This is a massive week for college football.
yeah, and I can't wait for it. And I wish it wasn't Tuesday. So where can people follow you? Tell me about your shows, all the things. Hopefully people are already there. We have you on every week. So I would hope people have gone and done this. And listen, we bring a lot of people on here and I give everybody an opportunity, but I mean, I truly watch all the Blake stuff. So go check them out. But where can people do this?
I know everybody. So we have a message board, by the way, and everybody sent me your clip instead of when we were on for LSU Clemson. Besides,
because yeah.
I'm like, hey, I love TJ, but share our clips. Like, what are you doing? Anyway, Ruffino and Joe show is where you can find us. We're Sunday through Wednesday is when we go live, and you can catch all the clips there. Ruffino and Joe show. AYS. Excuse me. We're live every day besides Friday. I mean, let's just be honest. So it's football season. We're going to be there. AYS. That's where you can find us. The hat, the logo. So we'll be live tonight, breaking down a lot of Florida. And that's where you can catch all of our stuff, TJ.
Awesome. Appreciate you, man. Good luck this weekend.
Thanks, man. Thank you for having me as always.
Yes, sir. All right, cool. Dude, I'm not even bullshitting. Like, we're off the air now, so I'm not even trying to kiss your ass or anything. I have more fun talking about with you than just about anybody on here, man. Like, I think it goes really well. So
yeah, dude, I really
like pulling teeth.
For sending me your clip, and I'm like, well, first off, I told him